Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, April 20th of 2023, and we are convening a session of Tax Review Board. Today's category is refuse taxes. Please, my name is Melissa Andre. I am the Executive Director, and with me is our Chair, Nancy Kammerdiener, Paula Weiss, and George Matthews, board members. Please be aware that this is a public hearing and it is being recorded. Because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no expectation of privacy. And by continuing to be in the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. This recording will be put on the Tax Review Board's website. Nancy, at this time, please start, and I will be putting in case number 1.
Great. Thank you very much, Melissa. As has been indicated, this is the Tax Review Board hearing for April 20th, 2023. There are 3 items that were on today's agenda that have been withdrawn. They're cases number 2, 3, and 4, all for Erwin Friedman. They're the last 4 digits of the docket: 8660, 8661, and 8662. All of them are on South 4th Street, and they are for numbers 745, 747, and 749. And as indicated, they have been withdrawn. Before us right now is case number 1 on the agenda for Muhammad Ahmadi, last 4 digits of the docket 6126, for 7420 Brockton Road. I see that he's in the room. Please identify yourself for the record.
Hi, last name is Ahmadi, first name is Muhammad.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. When it comes time for you to talk, if you could come a little closer to the computer,
sure.
That's where the microphone is. It'll help us to hear what you have to say. Who has this matter for the city?
Yim Pan, representing the city.
Do you have anyone who needs to be introduced to be speaking and may need to be sworn?
Yes, Ms. Renee Felder.
Okay. Please identify yourself for the record.
My name is Renee Felder. I am from Revenue Intake.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes.
Okay, I imagine you have the numbers for the record. Is that correct?
Michelle.
Correct.
Okay, if you can read that information into the record, that would be appreciated.
Okay. The principal amount is $3,250. Penalty is $1,838.22. The interest would be $1,149.50, which brings this total balance to $5,341.84. The years included is from 2010 through 2022.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Peng, do you have any introduction, or should we just be turning to the petition?
Yeah, I have an objection. The city object to the SEC bills being from 2010 to 2020, end of 2021 being discussed in this hearing because they're out of date and out of time, and the actual bills sent out for those periods should be before 2022. The petition was filed in February 22nd, 2022. So those periods should be non-pro-town considerations, and city object to those.
Okay. Board members, do we need to discuss this either in person or offline?
Well, let's turn to the petitioner and ask him for what his reasons are for the delay, and then maybe we do need to have a.
Oh, okay, fine. That's probably a good idea. Okay, then let's turn to the petitioner. You probably have heard the comments from the city's representative, and thinking that the petition on this was untimely for all of the petition years that came before us from 2010 through 2022. Can you address this for us so that we can understand why the petition was filed at that point in time and not anything earlier? Mr. Ahmadi, did you hear my question?
I'm sorry. Say that again, please.
Okay, the city has indicated that they think this was an untimely petition and they are objecting to us hearing anything earlier than the 2022 petition. And we want to give you an opportunity to tell us why you were petitioning at this point in time and not earlier in
Yeah.
terms of the amounts that are coming before the board.
Yeah, because I had a
If you could come a little closer to the mic while you're
I'm
talking.
sorry. I had a financial problem, tried to make up a payment agreement, but I couldn't afford it. And also last year I came to do, I had a hearing, which has reduced it
When was that? We can't read it on, when
I'm
you put it
sorry.
before the camera.
as 6/11/19
And
to,
who was that hearing with?
I don't,
Was it with the master from the tax review board or was it some other entity?
no, right here, I had a hearing with the,
Was it just one person?
yes,
Okay, so it was the master. So you had a hearing before the master
yes, yes.
and you appealed that hearing to the full board.
Yes, then they deduct all the interest and penalties. And also I had, one guy was living and I didn't have a authorized, certified.
Again, we cannot read that when you hold it up, just so
Oh, okay.
either read from it or tell us what you're
Oh,
saying.
it said that there was a gentleman was living there let me read the date, I'm sorry. 24.
To get into that, I'm sorry, Mr. Armani, I'm going to stop you. Really, the only thing we really want to know right now is why there was the delay in filing your petition. And I think you were explaining to us that you already had a hearing, that you tried to enter into some kind of payment agreement. and
Yeah,
couldn't.
because there was a arrow on I had the judge, the judge, my honor, he was stating the letter wasn't certified. Then he requested, and I did certify it. It's from the mosque. That's why,
Okay,
you know, the guy, I helped him out from the date is 2017 to 2021.
okay, thank you. Ms. Andre, can you confirm that there was a prior master's hearing and that there was a decision?
Absolutely. The hearing was on September 11th, I believe. Hold
Of
on.
what year?
2022. And he is correct. It was on September 21st of 2022. And the decision was to abate 100% of the interest and 100% of the penalty.
Okay, so since we already started this process and this is an appeal from the master, I would recommend that we note city's objection, but we move ahead and then we'll discuss it. We discuss the entire matter.
I do want to note for the record that the chair, as per protocol, reviewed the documentation from the petitioner when he applied and approved this petition number two. So there is an approval from our chair who reviewed the documentation in the petition.
Thank you for the reminder.
Oh, thank you. I didn't realize, or I wasn't sure that had happened. So why don't we move ahead and take Mr. Ahmadi's testimony? We'll hear from the city. We'll note the objection and we can take it into.
George, do you
into
concur with
consideration.
that?
Yes, I concur with that.
And I do as well, because of a couple of things that have been said here. So we do want to continue with this matter and get the information for the record. Is there anything else that the city wants to deal with before we turn to the petitioner?
The city just would like to say, the petitioner never, according to city record, the petitioner never filed any exemption for any of the years, and it is the petitioner's duty to inform the city to apply for the exemptions.
When you're saying exemption, what do you mean by exemption? Because it could go in a couple different ways, and I want to know how you're
Yeah.
defining.
What I'm saying is, like, the petitioner never applied an exemption for any of the refuse years at all. So it's the petitioner duty to affirmatively apply for the exemptions. So since he didn't apply for any of the exemptions, that's city asked the petition to be dismissed.
Okay, well, I think from what we have said before, the board would like to at least hear the testimony, and will take everything into consideration before we make a final decision. So let's turn to the petitioner right now. Please tell us why you're here and what it is you're looking for from this board. And if you could include in that any information about whether there was anyone living in the property or just what the situation was in the time period that you're referring to. And if you could confirm what time period was read into the record as 2010 to 2022, but if you have some difference in that, please do advise us of that.
That was my first time to rent out when I got the license, and I didn't know all this situation. I supposed to, the guy lived like 3 months or so, then he moved out. Then my oldest brother, he moved in from Virginia. He had a problem with his wife, and he come and live with.
Over the time period that's involved here, when was the property occupied? You've mentioned a little bit of time and mentioned your brother and someone else who was there, but I don't know that that covered the entire time we're dealing with here.
No, he lived about 5 years, then he passed away. He had a cancer. I tried to help him out to live with us, but the thing is, the only 3 months or maybe the most 4 months, the guy, he left when I got the license. I didn't know the situation. So later on, I find out on 2021, and they said you have to close the account, which is, I have approved that I went.
Okay, again, don't hold it up to the
Oh,
camera.
I'm
We
sorry,
can't
I'm
read
sorry.
it.
Okay.
You could read it to us, but
Yeah,
or we can get a copy made that would be circulated.
Yes, I did. I went to the city hall and I did ask them to, it's vacated. And it was vacated. The date was, what date was it?
Sure. So I'm going to read
Please.
the documents into the record because I think he's just having a little bit of a
Yes,
struggle.
please.
So it looks like he has a vacant property license from the city's L&I department. The effective date of the first one is 2/2/2022, and it expires in February of 2023. This is a copy of the same one. Do you have another one, or is
And
this
this
just
one,
these two?
no, that's these two. And this
And
is
then he
the
has a
letter.
letter from Medine. I'm not really sure what that is.
Mahdi,
Mahdia,
yeah,
okay.
it's a mosque.
It's a mosque. Oh, it's a mosque. This is what it says. It's notarized, and it specifically says that we at the Philadelphia Mahdia request Mr. Mohammed Ahmadi, the owner of the property at 7420 Brockton Road in Philadelphia, having an available, fully functioning living floor for the sake of Allah to house a needy person. And he names Mr. Ismail Al-Jusi, as long as he is willing to, and he graciously accepted. The letter is to confirm that this Mr. Al-Jusi was housed free of charge in the property of Mr. Mohammed Ahmadi, starting in 2017 and ending in the first quarter of 2021. We deeply appreciate his generous help. And then this is from, again, MAHDIEH, 6502 Haverford Avenue. I'm going to make a copy of these documents and send it to everyone in this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Is that all that you have?
That's all.
Okay.
In the period from 2010 through 2017, did anyone live in that property at all?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the date, please?
Well, the petition was for 2010 to 2022. And in the letter that was just read to us, there was some use identified beginning in 2017. So my question to you is, from 2010 through 2017, did anyone live at that property?
Yes, my brother, the one I mentioned to you early, Your Honor, he had a cancer. He lived for 5 years and he died. He passed away. His last name is Ahmadi,
Condolences.
Muhammad Ahmadi. Amin.
All right, so Mr. Ahmadi, in
Yes.
2010, you had a tenant for a short time, is that
Right.
correct?
Yes, yes. Your-
Okay, after that, your tenant left, your brother lived in it.
Right.
Your, without any paying rent to you, it was a family member, family use, is that
Right.
correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then he unfortunately passed away in 2016 or 17? When was that?
I don't remember the exact date, Your Honor.
Okay, but in 2017, you then used it or allowed someone to use it who had been recommended by your mosque?
Yes.
Okay, did
Sure.
that person, did anybody pay you rent at that time?
Oh, no, Your Honor.
No, so that was also a volunteer
This-
proposition where you were allowing someone to use it, but it was not for commercial purposes. You weren't
No,
earning
no.
any rent from it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and now it's vacant because you have a vacant property
Yes,
license.
and I have a video, it's vacant, it's a lot of
Right.
damage, I have to fix it.
Got it. Okay, that's
When
really,
did you get the vacant property license?
Uh,
Approximately.
The vacant, the
In
date-
2022, Nancy.
Okay, all right, thank you.
2022.
all right, so why don't we turn to the city then? Thank you, Mr. Mott. I think you've given us a picture of what we need to know about the property, and we're going to listen to the city now for their presentation.
I just want to jump in and say that I emailed everybody the documents that Mr. Amadi I had discussed with Mr. Amadi. They should have been emailed to everyone.
Thank you.
Mr. Peng?
Yeah, Mr. Amadi, just a few questions. First, I just want to confirm you are the owner of 7420 Brockton Road,
yes,
and this is a residential multifamily unit,
yeah, it's a duplex.
duplex. Okay. So, you say you had a did you have a rental license?
That's what no, I vacated, that's the paper that I sent, vacated. The license was the first time when I had, that was the guy who left the most 4 months. He left at 2010. 2010, that was the year when I start to get the
Okay.
license for it.
So, let me see. Notice. So you're claiming just want to make sure you're claiming your brother has been living in the property since I say mid 2010 to somewhere in 2016 to 2017,
Yes,
and then afterwards another non-rental occupant lived in the property from 2017 to 2021. Is that your
yes, Your Honor.
okay? Do you have any utility bills with your brother's name on it when he's living in the property?
No, I don't have it. Probably is, I don't have it with me. My
Ye-
brother, if you want me, I give you his last name and first name and whole middle name. He used to live there. I mean, last name is Amadi, first name is Amin, Amin, Muhammad.
So I just want to make sure. So you didn't have any utility bills, any bills under his name?
Not with me, no. I have to look.
Okay. Did you have a rental license? Did you rental license from? Give me a second. Let me just from 20 starting. Let me bring it up. Okay. I like to share my screen actually. Bear me a second. I'm just trying to find file. Okay. 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 Sure. So you have from the city records, you have a rental license starting from January 2011 and expired on 2015, but you renewed in March 8th, 2014. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes, but I couldn't find any rental. My
So-
brother was living there, you know.
Why would you renew the rental license if you don't have anybody to rent to? And
Yeah,
supposedly you say your brother was living here in your property during those periods. Am I correct?
Yes.
But you renewed the
Duplex.
rental license.
It's a duplex. It's on the top of it. It's a duplex house. I tried to rent it out to get license. I couldn't because there was a lot of damage on the second floor. And I who have a picture still, I have a problem with the home. I have to repair it, but I don't have the money to fix it. I tried to rent it out.
So your brother only live in one part of the one unit of the duplex unit. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, say that again.
So your brother only live in one of the one or two units in your property,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yes.
And was the other unit ever rented?
No.
Okay, but you did renew your rental
I
license on
did. I
24.
tried to get a rental, but I couldn't find because there was damage on the roof.
Okay.
If I show you the video, you won't believe it. The
Okay.
first guy who left for the first month, he did a lot of damage. He was living on the second floor. And
Okay.
when my brother died, I have a lot of pictures and I could show you if you want. There's so much damage. I could not afford it to fix the house.
Okay. Okay. That's all the question I have for you. I'd like to direct my witness, Ms. Renee Felder. Thank you, sir.
Please proceed.
Ms. Felder, did you have a chance to review petitioner's account?
Yes, I did.
According to, so who is the owner of the property, according to your record?
Ahmad Muhammad.
So is there a refuse account for the property 7420 Brockton Road?
Yes.
Was the account ever closed?
No.
What type of property is this?
It's a multifamily, 2 to 3, 4 unit apartment.
Is this property subject to refuse collection fees?
Yes.
Just for the record, where did refuse CPOs mail to during the disputed periods?
Up to the property, 7420 Brockton Road.
Okay. Has petitioner submitted any private hauler contract?
No, we haven't.
So are there any license issued to the property for the years in question?
What year? It was the rental license as stated earlier, and also the vacancy license in 2022. He didn't submit any additional vacancy license for the prior years that he said that it was vacant.
So when was the rental license issued? Do you have information?
I have January 14, 2011.
And
Then
when
the
was it
year-
expired?
well, I
yeah.
have it in active.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just interrupt you. So can you say the years, the dates again?
January 14, 2011, and an active March 20th, 2015.
Okay, so when was during this period there's a time, was the license renewed in 2014?
Yes, in March of 2014.
Okay. Has any exemption been filed for this property?
No exemptions, not even for 22, although he has a vacancy license, he needs to bring that forward and fill out an exemption form so he wouldn't be charged for refuge, but failed to bring or bring the license or fill out an exemption for any of the years prior or for 2022.
So has the petitioner ever paid any of his refuse fee bills?
He did pay in the prior years. There were a few payments, just bear with me. Going back to 2010 through 15, which totals $895.88.
So
And that was-
yeah, okay. So what was the remaining unpaid periods?
The remaining unpaid periods, we still have 2010 included because it's like a little interest of residual left over. But from 2010 through 22, that balance is $5,341.84.
Okay. So he paid in 2010, 2013, and 2015. Is that correct?
Let me go back. Yes.
But didn't fully pay any of the years.
Well, going forward, starting in year 2015 of December, the second half, no payments going forward.
Okay, so the payments before, from the first half of 2015 and before that, are they completely paid?
No.
Okay. I have no further question.
Could I ask a question of your witness?
Yeah.
Ms. Felder, do you have any information, you may not have it, but any information about whether or not trash was picked up at that property during the time periods that were not covered by the exemptions?
be honest,
No, I wouldn't have that information. I
Okay.
believe that's the
I-
streets department.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that would come back to your records or not, and that's why I was asking the question. Okay, I suspected that that would be the case, but I wanted to check. Thanks.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Maybe I missed this. I generally don't ask questions, but are the charges that the city is putting on this petitioner, is it for both the top part and the bottom part? Is that how it's being charged, or is it just one? So
Yes.
is it 150 each? Well, now it's 250, but is it 150 each for each part of the property for each year? Or not each year, but for each half of the year?
Yes. So
Okay.
therefore, it would be June of $250. That's the most current bill.
No, I
And
think,
then
right,
by December, another $250, which totals $500. They have to make two payments or they can pay it in full throughout the year. But
But
because
the
he didn't.
duplex-
submit an ex-
I'm sorry, I'm
Excuse
going
me?
to interrupt. Just to make sure we understand, Ms. Felder, but the duplex is not charged twice because it's two apartments. It's one building and it gets one bill.
Correct.
Okay,
$500 per year.
yeah, but
But if he
for
would have,
2022, it was $150.
correct.
Okay.
I just want to summarize earlier, Ms. Renee actually testified. I don't think the petition never made any, it never applied any exemption.
Correct.
Can we go back if that's, the city is finished with its case?
I just have when I have like one last comment. I think the board should take into consideration that petitioner did renew his rental license during the years the petitioner claims that his brother lived in the property.
He did or he did not? I wasn't sure what you said.
He did.
He did.
He renewed. The testimony shows he renewed his rental license in March 2014, and that was during the periods where petitioner claimed his brother lived in there,
Right.
lived in his
Okay.
property.
You know, Mr. Ping, I have one more question, I guess, actually, now that you brought that up. So I know he did not apply for any exemptions, but had he come in, is there an exemption for any kind of religious use or non-rental of the property? I mean, he volunteered the property to be used by the mosque, and we have that letter from them. Would there have been an exemption for that?
No, we have
I'm sorry,
private haulers, owner occupied, vacancy license. If it was a new construction with a permit, we probably would have even honored if he would have been bringing a utility bill saying a family member lived there, he would have been charged half of it. If he would have brought in a vacancy license, he wouldn't have been charged at all if he would have filled out the exemption. So I'm not sure if he was not aware of the process or he just,
No,
just
yeah,
didn't go any further.
I didn't know the first time I I got the license.
Speak up a little bit.
I didn't know, Your Honor. I didn't know. That was the first time I was trying to rent it. And I didn't know I didn't have any knowledge about it.
Okay,
So just to clarify, the vacancy license only covered 2022. That's the only year was vacancy license.
Correct. All right, is everybody ready to go back?
I have one question to the taxpayer, please. I have to ask you that, did you file the tax returns every year, or did you report any income from the rental property?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Did you report any income from the rental property on your tax return?
I don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember.
Are you renting the place now, or is it?
No, it's
vacant?
vacated. If I show you the video, you won't believe it. It's so much
Okay.
damage.
Thank you.
Okay, is the board ready?
Yes.
I think so.
Sorry.
Nancy, everyone is back.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. The board's reached a decision. It's our decision to abate all of the INP in the years from 2010 through 2021, and to abate 50% of the principal in the years 2012 through 2016. And to, in 22, to abate all the principal because there was a vacancy license in effect. So
And
do I need to repeat, or is there any clarification needed?
For 2022, just to clarify, it's the principal along with any interest and penalty.
Right, yeah, that is a good restatement, because I had said all of the INP for all of the years, and I may have taken out 2022, and that would not be correct. So 2010 through 2022 abate all years of INP. And from 2012 through 2016, abate half of the principal. And all of the principal would be abated in 2022 because of the vacancy license. Is that any clearer?
Much.
Okay. And do my board members concur?
Paula Weiss, I concur.
George Matthews, I concur.
And obviously, as I stated that, I concur at the outset on that. You'll get a letter from us that spells out our decision. Both sides do have the right to appeal to the Court of Common Pleas within 30 days of the date of that letter. I'm going to assume that neither side's going to choose to appeal, and sometime after that 30-day period, the petitioner should be in touch with, I guess it would be with the Department of Revenue, in order to make payment arrangements for any amounts that are still due and owing. And you should be reminded that you need to renew your vacancy license if you do need that. We note that on one of the documents that was circulated earlier, there was a 2/1/23 expiration date on the license that you had in place. And so it's already past due unless you have actually renewed it and it didn't show up in the records that we were looking at today. Any questions?
I just want to add further, Mr. Amati, in order to have these bills cease and desist, every year you need to renew the vacancy license, and you also need to use that license to file for an exemption for this fee.
I see.
And there's a form that you can get when you set up your payment plan. Revenue will have a form for you so that you can use that vacancy license to get the exemption every year.
Every year I have to get a vacancy license.
Every year you have to renew it, and then you have to take it and fill out the exemption
Oh,
form so that they
okay.
don't send you a bill.
Thank you. I didn't know that every year.
Mhm. Yes.
Thank you for your information.
That way you avoid running into a problem, unless of course you have someone who is there and then you want to
Yeah, I
have a
have
vacancy
to,
license in
exactly.
effect
Yes.
to cover the existence of a tenant. You wouldn't be covering it that way if you had a tenant in there.
Okay, yes, Your Honor.
So if you have any questions, I'm sure that they can help you as you go along with this after you get the letter in hand and can discuss it with someone in the Department of Revenue.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much for coming in today. We appreciate you being here. We had one other item, and you're dismissed whenever you want to head out there. We had one other item on our agenda for today, item number 5 for Bernard Howard and Cinquette. I'm not sure exactly what that means, how I'm pronouncing it is correct, but it's docket ending in 6273 for 2439 West Master Street. However, no one has appeared for that item, and we will mark that as a failure to appear. But do we have any notations or any information about this item that we need to take into account in terms of how we state that failure to appear?
Yes, it is approximately 2:45. There is no one here in the room, in the office at 100 South Broad Street or in the Zoom waiting room. I do want to note that this was a rehearing from a board hearing back in October of 2022, where the petitioner failed to appear. And the board had granted her rehearing based on the request made. There was a family emergency back in October of 2022. So this is the second time before the board and the second failure to appear.
So then I would vote no further hearings.
George, do you
Yes, I
concur?
concur. No further hearings.
Okay, and I would agree with that as well. So we will be marking that as did not appear. And as a result of a rehearing where they did not appear, that this was a rehearing from another episode when they did not appear, that the board is indicating that we want no further hearings. And that being the last item on our agenda, this hearing is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.